fact that if they believe that they have been harmed, that they are a victim, contact this Colonel's office.
An unusual plea from a judge. He wants to hear from victims of former Clark County Sheriff Jamey Noel. Noel spent millions to fund his family's lavish lifestyle. WDRB Stefan Johnson introduces us to a victim who's now losing his job over all of this. Stefan?
Well, behind me this week, Jamey Noel was back in court to plead guilty to some of the charges against him. But as you heard, the judge first wants to hear from some of the victims. And as you're about to hear, some of those victims have a lot to say.
I'm Wesley Johnson. I'm a lieutenant with New Chapel Fire and EMS. I've been there about 6.5 years.
This week will be the end of the road for Lieutenant Wesley Johnson with New Chapel EMS.
My last day will be Saturday at 8 p.m. Saturday night will be the end of my last shift.
Lieutenant Johnson is one of many first responders with New Chapel EMS and the Utica Township Fire Department losing their jobs over allegations against former Clark County Sheriff Jamey Noel, who was in charge of both. Starting September 1st, New Chapel will no longer provide 911 emergency ambulance services to Clark County.
It's kind of like watching your family fall apart, like you're leaving your home, and that's been really hard on myself and a lot of people.
On Monday, Noel was back in court to plead guilty to 27 felony charges, including theft, obstruction of justice, tax evasion, money laundering, corrupt business influence, and official misconduct. He's accused of using the department's credit cards to spend millions on trips, clothing, jewelry, luxury cars, and more.
I mean, not just management, not just the sheriff's department.
Before accepting the plea deal, Special Judge Larry Medlock made a plea to the public.
I mean, EMS workers that have lost their jobs, paramedics that are not out there saving people because the money was diverted for pleasures. I want to hear from people that don't have $800 belts. I want to hear from taxpayers that have been aggrieved by the actions of this individual.
Jamey was a person that I respected at one point in time. I would like to look at him and tell him, exactly, I want him to hear and see how his actions have directly affected all the people that worked for him at one point in time.
If the judge accepts the plea deal, Noel would be sentenced to 15 years in prison, with 3 suspended, and have to repay several $1 million.
Serve 10, 12 years in prison, have to pay all that money back.
In this case, Lieutenant Johnson believes the punishment fits the crime.
Essentially come home to nothing when he does get out of prison. I'm satisfied with it.
And if you have information to share with the special prosecutor, just head to our website and click the link at the end of this story. With photojournalist Neil Johnson, I'm Stefan Johnson, WDRB News.